Accuphase. The history of Accuphase began in 1972, when brothers Nakaichi and Jiro Kasuga left Trio Kenwood and founded their own company, Kensonic Laboratory. Within this enterprise, the Accuphase brand was established, whose philosophy is to reproduce sound as accurately as possible. In 1973, the company moved from Tokyo to Yokohama, where it is still located today, and released its first products. These were the C200 preamplifier, the P300 power amplifier and the T100 FM tuner, devices that immediately attracted the attention of audiophiles with their high build quality and sound. Success came quickly. For example, the P300 amplifier received the prestigious Japan Compo Award in 1973. Even back then, Accuphase equipment was already easily recognizable: a golden champagne-colored anodized chassis, massive knobs, and large power indicators on the front panel. These features, similar to the design of American Macintosh amplifiers, became the brand's hallmark. The E202 integrated amplifier and T101 tuner were striking examples of this style. The Accuphase E202, released in 1974, was the brand's first integrated amplifier. In fact, the company packed the quality of separate components into a single unit. With 100 watts per channel and weighing almost 20 kilograms, the E202 amplifier offered audiophile characteristics, separate power supply for each stage, and a rich set of control functions. In the 1970s, it was one of the most advanced integrated amplifiers. In 1978, Accuphase introduced the E303 integrated amplifier, which was a continuation of the 202 model and had slightly more power and an updated design. The price in Japan reached 245,000 yen, which was comparable to the cost of a car at the time. However, fans of the brand were willing to pay such money, believing that only Accuphase had raised the bar in the integrated amplifier category as high as possible. In the late 1970s, the company released its first turntable cartridge and some other similar accessories. However, the main focus remained on large electronics. In 1979, Accuphase summed up the decade: an average of 6 new products per year and a reputation as a manufacturer of high-quality sound and reliable equipment. In 1980, the Kasuga brothers finally withdrew from Trio Kenwood's capital, focusing solely on the development of their brainchild, Accuphase. In 1982, on the company's 10th anniversary, it was decided to change the official name from Kensonic to Accuphase Laboratory in order to unify the company and brand names. In the same year, 1982, the remarkable Accuphase C280 preamplifier appeared. It was designed with an eye to the new medium, the compact disc, and was positioned as a top-of-the-line preamplifier with a wide bandwidth for working with both analog vinyl and digital discs. The C280 featured a fully balanced Class A circuit on discrete transistors and a dual mono power supply, separate transformers and stabilizers for each channel. This allowed it to achieve outstanding noise and linearity characteristics for its time, and, as reviews noted, paved the way for the arrival of digital sources without compromising the quality of the analog path. Subsequent versions, the C280L, 1987, and C280V, 1990, improved this platform by introducing balanced inputs and even lower distortion levels. Following the C280, updates to the first P300 power amplifier were released. These were variations, the P300S and P300L. And in 1983, the flagship P600 stereo amplifier with 300 watts per channel made its debut. A few years later, the company released the M1000 monoblock amplifier. These 60 kg giants demonstrated Accuphase engineering excellence in analog amplification. The model became a legend in the world of audiophiles. At the end of the 1980s, Accuphase added the P500L model to its catalog. This was a stereo amplifier with an output stage built on 10 transistors connected in parallel for each channel, 20 transistors in total, which radically reduced the output impedance and allowed it to work confidently even with the most demanding speakers down to 2 ohms. The P500L also featured a special bias mode that prevented the output transistors from clipping at low levels. This resulted in extremely low distortion at any power level. The amplifier could be bridged into mono mode and was equipped with large power indicators on the front panel. Inside, there was a massive power transformer and rows of output transistors on huge heat sinks. With models such as the P500L, Accuphase finally established itself in the upper echelons of amplifier manufacturers, competing with the world's best models. Accuphase was fully prepared for the advent of the digital audio era. As early as 1986, the company was one of the first to adopt the compact disc format at a high level, releasing the DP80DC81 separated CD player. This two-piece system, separate transport and external digital-to-analog converter, was unusual for the 1980s, but Accuphase chose to pursue the highest possible quality. The 15 kg DP80 transport had a reinforced chassis with vibration protection, a separate power supply, and reading mechanisms comparable in weight and accuracy to the best Japanese models. It was later ranked alongside esoteric transports. The DC81 module, called the Precision Digital Processor, was also cutting edge. In it, Accuphase used several DAC chips in parallel for the first time to reduce noise and conversion errors. This first DAC already had 2 transformers, separate for the digital and analog parts, emphasizing the desire to get the most out of the new format. The experience gained with the DC81 formed the basis for further developments. In the early 1990s, Accuphase introduced the DC91 digital processor, which implemented its own MMB, multiple multibit, concept. Instead of a single DAC chip, it used a matrix of 16 parallel multibit converters. This set of chips provided a total accuracy close to the ideal 20-bit conversion. This technology allowed Accuphase to claim 20-bit performance even before the advent of true 20-bit chips. Another important technology for Accuphase was the MDS, multiple delta sigma, system, that is, the use of several single-bit sigma delta ducts in a parallel configuration. The first implementations of MDS were in CD players in the mid-1990s. For example, the DP75 in 1994 already mentioned the MDS converter in its specifications. Accuphase further developed this technology. Improved versions of MDS Plus and MDS++ appeared with the lowest possible noise and distortion. By the end of the 1990s, Accuphase's digital lineup included a full range of devices, from budget, by the brand standards, CD players such as the DP55 to flagship separate SACD systems. The first set for the new Super Audio CD format was the top-of-the-line DP100 transport and the external DC101 Super Audio CD converter. To transfer the DSD signal between the transport and the converter, Accuphase developed its own HS-Link interface on an RJ45 connector with proprietary encryption, Sony entrusted the company with a unique key that allowed it to bypass SACD restrictions on outputting the stream externally. This allowed fans of the brand to build completely discrete sources, right down to the cable between the units. In the 1990s, Accuphase simultaneously made significant advances in analog amplification technologies. In 1991, Accuphase first used MOSFET transistors in the output stage of its flagship A100 monoblock amplifier. This was the brand's first fully pure Class A amplifier, 100 watts into 8 ohms, a single-ended circuit with 40 MOSFET per channel. The unit weighed 57 kilograms, had massive heat sinks and impressive power consumption, all for the sake of high linearity and soft clipping. From that moment on, all Class A models were built on MOSFET, while Class AB continued to use bipolar transistors. The A100 marked the beginning of a new line. It was followed by the A50, A20, and later the A50V, which became popular among connoisseurs of low power but high quality sound. Accuphase also continued to develop integrated amplifiers. Each generation increased output power and added functionality. For example, the E405 was the first Accuphase model with a remote control. By the early 1990s, Accuphase integrated amplifiers had firmly established themselves as reference models. For example, the E405 won the Stereo Sound Grand Prix Award in Japan, ahead of many competitors. In 1993, it was replaced by the E406, which increased the power to 160 watts and introduced a fully dual mono design, 2 transformers and 2 capacitor banks. This was followed by the E407 and E408. Every 4 years, Accuphase updated its top-of-the-line AB class model, improving its performance, but in terms of appearance and concept, these integrated amplifiers remained true to the brand's traditions. In addition to all of the above, in the 1990s Accuphase introduced the MCS, multiple circuit summing, principle, the parallel connection of several identical amplifier circuits to reduce noise and distortion. This was first implemented in the 6-channel CX260, where 3 amplifiers per channel improved the signal-to-noise ratio. Later, the technology was transferred to stereo equipment, including the P3000, where 2 circuits operated in each channel. The improved version was labeled MCS Plus and was used in amplifiers, converters, and preamps to increase signal accuracy and purity. At the turn of the century, one of the most important developments was the introduction of the proprietary AAVA, Accuphase Analog Varigain Amplifier, volume control system. Traditional potentiometers, even the highest quality ones, had limitations: wear and tear, channel unevenness, and impedance changes at different volume levels. Accuphase's solution was radical: to completely eliminate resistors from the signal path. In 2002, the C2800 preamplifier debuted the proprietary AAVA technology, an electronic volume control implemented without variable resistors. Instead of attenuating the signal, AAVA converts it into current, divides it into 16 balanced circuits, and then reassembles it at the desired level, with an accuracy of 0.001 decibel. This approach maintains constant impedance, bandwidth, and gain at any volume level. Distortion, crosstalk, and channel desynchronization are eliminated. A balanced version of AAVA was later introduced, and the technology itself became standard in all Accuphase integrated amplifiers from the mid-2000s, and is still in use today. In 2006, the company began independently developing transport mechanisms for disc players. The first step was the Accuphase DP500 CD player, the first device in the brand's history with a completely proprietary CD transport. Previously, Accuphase, like most manufacturers, used OEM mechanisms, for example, from Sony or Philips. The DP500 chassis, weighing about 16 kilograms, had a massive base to which the drive was rigidly attached, and the entire design was characterized by an unusually quiet and smooth tray operation. On the digital-to-analog side, the DP500 was equipped with the company's proprietary MDS++ system, which ensured low noise and jitter. This device became a kind of turning point. It showed that Accuphase was capable of not depending on third-party suppliers for a critically important component. Subsequently, all flagship SACD transports were based on Accuphase's own developments, only partially using elements of the Sony SCD-1 laser system, but seriously refined. In the early 2000s, Accuphase was not left out of the multi-channel audio trend. The PX600 and VX705 channel amplifiers and the CX260 surround sound processor were created to meet the needs of home cinema. Despite the success of these devices in a narrow segment, the main market for Accuphase has always remained classic stereo hi-fi and high-end. Therefore, by the end of the 2000s, the company focused on improving its stereo lineups and quietly abandoned the multi-channel models. Speaking about that period, it should be noted that in 2002 Accuphase released its first pure Class A integrated amplifier, E530. It delivered 30 watts into 8 ohms, but offered the very magical Class A performance. The amplifier combined the brand's best technologies: MOSFET output stage, current feedback, AAVA volume control and dual mono. E530 was the beginning of a new series, demonstrating a gradual evolution. In each generation the parameters were improved, noise was reduced, dumping factor grew, new circuits appeared. In E650, for example, balanced AAVA and modern Vichy MOSFET were used for the first time. And arrow indicators were replaced by LED graphics, which caused controversy among fans, but improved reliability and readability. As for the company's more recent history, Accuphase has done a lot to promote digital audio in recent years. For example, since 2011, the firm has been producing processors that support PCM signal up to 32-bit 384 kHz and DSD up to 11.2 MHz. A good example of such an advanced device is the 2016 DC950 converter. The DC950 features an advanced MDS++ conversion. Each of the two stereo converter boards contains 8 parallel sigma delta chains for a combined total of extremely low noise and record linearity. In 2021, for the 50th anniversary of the company, a commemorative pair of DP1000 DC1000 transport and processor were released. Their Accuphase went even further, using the latest 32-bit ESS ES9038 Pro chips and employing 8 converters per channel. Finally, to round off the company's history, it should be mentioned that, among other things, it has excelled in room correction systems. Back in 1997, they introduced the DG28, special device with a microphone and digital processing, capable of fine-tuning the frequency response to the room. Despite skepticism in the audiophile community, Accuphase proved that proper digital correction can improve sound without distortion. Subsequent generations, the DG38, DG48 and DG58, grew in accuracy and convenience, with color displays and PC control. The current version, the DG68, came out in 2019. It combines room analysis and 80-band correction, has a touchscreen, powerful DSP, and extensive customization options. The user can set the frequency response manually or choose automatic mode, save profiles and export them to USB. This is a digital instrument with an analog philosophy for the most demanding. In 2025, Accuphase is a stable brand with a reputation. The lineup includes integrated amplifiers and power amplifiers, monoblocks, disc players, digital converters, and various advanced network players. The company still manufactures only electronics at its Yokohama plant. Volumes are low, and each unit undergoes strict quality control, including a personalized data sheet. Accuphase remains independent, run by the Kasuga family and not part of any holding company. This is rare in today's industry, but it is this independence that allows the brand to follow its own path without compromising on quality.